Hey everyone, what's going on? We're here live, another edition of Boxing Chit. This is Josh here along with Boz. How's it going for you, Boz?
Yeah, it's going all right. It's been a really tiresome week, and the weather is cold. But yeah, I mean, I'm hanging in there.
Mhm.
So yeah,
All right, gotcha. Yeah, it's rainy here, cold and rainy. So I think it's kind of the feel for across the board here, just in general. We're in that season, so maybe things will
yeah,
shape up here sometime soon. But as we know,
yeah.
when it comes to
Mhm.
boxing, rain, sleet, or snow, the show must go on. That is.
Oh,
So we appreciate everyone being here. So thank you, Boz, of course. And thank you to everyone who's in attendance right now, who's showing love out here to the channels and those that will be coming in, those that will be watching the replay. Hey, we appreciate everyone being here. Again, another edition of Boxing Chit. So we're talking the action from this past weekend and then what's coming up with this major Riyadh card that is touted as the best pay-per-view card ever. So we'll see. We'll
hmm.
discuss it. But anyhow, thank you all. Salute to Random Acoustic Thoughts who's dropped by. Appreciate you there, Random. Be sure to go give him a like and subscribe. As a matter of fact, while you're here, like, subscribe. Go check out Boz's Boxing. Like, subscribe. I think you'll enjoy the content as we continue to hit you with more. So we're going to start things off with this past Friday, actually, Boz, and there was a WBO World Lightweight Championship matchup that took place when Dennis Beranchet put his WBO title on the line against Keyshawn the Businessman Davis of Norfolk. Beranchet, Ukrainian, he was a part of that crop that included the likes of Alexander Usyk, Vasily Lomachenko, Alexander Gvozdyk, so he is from sort of the cream of the crop as far as some of those top level fighters
Yeah,
here that we've seen over the last decade or so. And we know that as far as all things are concerned, Usyk right now is the guy, one of the top three
yeah.
pound for pound in the world. And some of the other ones
Still,
have been there at varying points, but hey, it is
yeah,
what it is. So this was
still
Barenchik.
doing.
Barenchik just got his opportunity to win a world title here in his last contest by defeating Emmanuel Navarrete, who was moving up. But in Keyshawn Davis, he was going to be going up against a young gun who seems destined to do some damage in the sport there, Boz. And we know
Hmm.
that it ended up being rather quick work for what was built up to be a fight that might have had some good back and forth in some sense, but not a lot of that because it ended in a fourth round stoppage to the body there, Boz, with Keyshawn Davis's hand being raised. Want to get your thoughts
Yeah,
on that contest and kind of what's next for both of those guys.
yeah. Well, I mean, it all went all right for, I guess, for Benici, even though he really kind of fought, well, let's say, rough and kind of almost dirty, you might even say. And then in the third round, he was dropped with the first body shot, and then, of course, again in the fourth, it was body shots that did him in and decided the fight in favor of Davis. And yeah, Davis just looked sharper, I thought, and. Uh, Yeah, he just looked like the more polished and also harder hitting probably fighter. I mean, Benici, he doesn't have that many KOs, and he's more of a boxer who, yeah, likes to kind of spoil, I guess. And yeah, he's a yeah, rather strong guy, but yeah, when you fight a guy like Keyshawn Davis who really knows how to land those punches, and then it doesn't help. So
Yeah.
now he's got the WBO title, and everybody is already talking about a possible showdown against Tank Davis, the other Davis. And yeah, as far as I could tell, even though he is kind of moving back and forth between 135 and 140, but I guess he can still make 135. Yeah, I hope. And yeah, I mean, Davis is just looks very, very promising right now. And And
Yeah.
yeah, Berincic is just gonna have to go back to the drawing board, of course. Yep.
Yeah, that's a major setback for Barancic there, and the drawing
Yeah.
board for him. Yeah, it might be about out of empty space, because of the fact that he
Yeah.
is 36 now, and this was like his 17th or 18th fight or something like that, right? So he hasn't had a ton of fights since turning pro, and he gets the
15th,
title,
I believe.
loses it in his
Yeah.
first defense. Is it? But yeah, you can double check there. But I feel like he doesn't have a ton of fights just from an overall numeric standpoint, you know.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
It
interesting.
doesn't really. I mean, yeah. It seems like only yesterday when he turned pro. There were a lot of expectations already when
Yeah,
he turned pro. So now, so far, he has fulfilled them, you might say. But it's very important when you have the skills and the punch, the necessary punching power. Of course, it's a lot easier to win in these important fights, and for guys like Berinchik who don't have that power, obviously. And yeah,
yeah. No, I'm with you there for sure. And you made some great points there. Yeah, he is a guy who didn't have a ton of power, so he was going to rely on the boxing aspect of it.
yeah,
Now, in looking at the contest, I felt like maybe it was the nerves or something of that nature, but he never looked comfortable
yeah.
in there, and I felt he was switching too much. Some fighters switch
Mm,
stances, just because they see they may have leverage in a different area or they may see an opening. But I felt that he was just switching back and forth without any real intent behind it. And maybe that's because he was feeling the pressure of what was coming from Keyshawn. And I thought that's what did Baranchik in, and he never really got off anything of significance that I recall that landed.
mm,
Certainly nothing that hurt Keyshawn. And there was a lot of tying up and grabbing in the first, I would say, 2.5 rounds before things started to open up a little bit with Keyshawn getting the distance down. But I thought rather disappointing for Baranchik as far as this was his first title defense. He waited for that title shot for a long period, and I thought he
mm.
would put up a bit more of an effort. And maybe it's because he just could not figure out Keyshawn.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought he should have. I thought he started too aggressive, and he should have laid back more and tried to counter, and just box more and not just go right at Davis and and yeah, I think that was the mistake probably. I mean, one of his mistakes, but of course, having said that, I mean, it's hard to get away from those body shots that like a guy like Davis, he really knows how to to land them, and yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, and that's what did
Mm.
him in ultimately, fourth round. So
Yeah.
emphatic victory there for Keyshawn in his first title or his first world title bid, and taking out
Mm.
Baranchik. Excuse me. You did
Yeah.
mention what's next. He seems to be game for it all. But I would love to see that showdown between he and Tank Davis. So
Yeah.
Keyshawn Davis, Tank Davis, and I'd imagine that build up, that back and forth would be something crazy. And with
Mm.
those two guys being out of the area here, like sort of the DMV, there are a lot of known parties and connections that would make it all the more interesting. So we'll see if that actually happens. And it does make sense because
Yeah.
Keyshawn has a belt, and then the other belt holders are, of course, Tank, then Lomachenko has a belt, and then Shakur Stevenson.
Really?
So we'd also take a Tank versus
Oh
Shakur
yeah.
Stevenson matchup. We'll have to see what goes on with Lomachenko winning if he comes back. But that being said, Keyshawn Davis, Tank Davis, I like that.
Mm. He's rather tall for a lightweight, Kishon, so he can make 140, I believe, without
Mm-hmm.
many problems, and 5'9",
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, I think
if
he'll
that
carry that
would
well.
be, yeah, if that should be necessary, like for a fight with Davis, well, I don't think it will, but if, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So time will tell, of course. That's what it
yeah,
always comes down to. Will they accept? So
only time
shout
will
out to
tell.
Josh Taylor who dropped by. Appreciate you there, Josh Taylor. Thanks for showing up. We appreciate your dialogue as well. We're going to be talking boxing history this coming Wednesday as well. So salute to that as well. Shout out to Chris Irish Boxing. What's going on? Chris says, "What's up, lads? Appreciate you there, Chris. Hey, is it good stuff? Always good to have you here. The early bird you mentioned, good stuff. Like and subscribe, folks. Won't hurt thumbs, no doubt about it. Be sure to like and subscribe. Of course, 86 Boxing, Boz's Boxing, Boxing Chit. We are here. As a matter of fact, I meant to have the Boxing Chit banner up. Matter of fact, why don't I do that right now, real time? Because that's what's meant to be. There we go. Yeah, Boxing Chit. That's what's going on right now. You know,
I didn't know that was him. You need to drop that short. I mean, that CIBA. I didn't know that was Christopher.
Hey, yeah. It's Christopher. Yeah, Christopher. We appreciate you there, Chris. Again, thank you all.
Yeah, with CIBA, you know, like.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, thank you all. Appreciate you being here, showing some love for sure. We're gonna move on to another big fight that just happened where a title changed hands, and that just happened yesterday. It was a DAZN card going down in the UK. It was our guy Jack Catterall taking on. Who was Jack fighting? Oh, yeah, Arnold Barboza Jr. Arnold Barboza Jr. So, yeah, just got it up.
Yeah.
And this was a WBO interim junior welterweight championship. Now, Catterall, of course, had the title. He just recently defeated Regis Prograis, and it was a good contest, some back and forth. Both of them saw the canvas in that contest. Now he was going up against a guy in Arnold Barboza who probably doesn't have that grand name like some of the other opponents he's been in, but is a darn good fighter. And he has a bit of everything from an all-around standpoint. I'm sure I noted this before. And he's been at 140 and looking for those opportunities. He's one of those guys that's tough to deal with because he's technically sound. He can move very well. He has decent speed, decent pop, or decent enough, you know. So he's just a challenge. You're going to have to be thinking in there for sure when dealing with him. And this seemed to be the case when he and Jack Catterall faced off here yesterday, and it was ultimately a split decision victory with the belt changing hands and going to Barboza. And that was, you could argue, a shocker somewhat because Barboza traveled over to the UK for this contest. But hey, maybe the judges got it right, though I did hear a lot of notion that, hey, it could have gone either way. And from what I saw, I could see that being the case as well there. What do you think there, Boz?
Yeah, that was, I mean, it was a close fight, definitely a close fight, but Barboza, he did kind of really press the action a lot, and yeah, he's not a big, very hard puncher, but his punches, you know, they are sharp, definitely. They have this kind of pop, as you say, and Catterall, you know, one of the problems I always thought with him is that he doesn't engage enough. You know, as Christopher said there, he didn't do enough. He had definitely some good moments, landed some good shots, kind of, you know, stunned Barboza once or twice, but he just didn't do enough, especially in the last 4 rounds. I thought I had him ahead. I had Catterall ahead with the. After first 8 rounds, and then I thought Barboza won the last 4, so I scored at 115, 113 for Barboza Jr. because he was always the one really pressing the action, especially in those last rounds, which we know is very important, you know, to be really very active, right? So yeah, I mean, it was a very technical fight otherwise, like as I thought it would be. And Catterall looked really good against Prograis, and that's why I thought he might win here, but that was a very different kind of opponent, you might say. Prograis is not as technical as Barboza Jr. So yeah, Barboza, I thought Barboza was the one that possibly could upset Carroll, and so yeah, I had no problem with that decision, of course, and the right man did win in the end. And I also thought that Carroll would get it because the fight was close
Yeah,
and it was in his own city. So,
yeah, same
but
here.
but yeah, luckily it didn't happen. The right man did get it. So
Could we be
yeah,
seeing a shift in judging where they get it
yeah.
right?
Hopefully, we had some atrocious scorecards also in UK in the last few years. Like
Yeah.
when I think the worst one was Jermaine Franklin versus Dillian White. Oh man, that
Oh
was
yeah.
terrible. That
Yeah,
was
there's been some bad ones.
yeah. White wasn't even close to winning that fight. Oh man, he was really dominated there. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
know. I remember a guy Vasquez. I can't think of his first name. Got robbed against Louis Ritson in just
oh,
blatant rivalry. Uh,
I didn't see that one, but yeah, I did see several with some fights.
you
Oh
might have seen
right,
it. He certainly
Miguel.
it
You
was
you
yeah,
mean
Miguel
Miguel?
Vasquez.
Right,
Yeah,
the
it was
former champion, actually. Yeah,
yeah, blatant
like
rivalry right there. Craziness.
yeah, I believe that Ritson was never really that special. He's very one-dimensional fighter,
Yeah.
so that is
So
the main
yeah,
problem.
it happens.
Yeah.
It happens, you know. So one of these scoring things, even here, some craziness. Shout out Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz and more. Says salute my two brothers, Josh and Bob.
Hey,
Salute there to you there, Bruce. Appreciate you here being here,
mm,
boxing shit. Hey, be sure to go check out Bruce, folks. Give him a like, subscribe. Got some great content on the channel. Top dives into some history as well. So I think
mm,
you'll appreciate it for sure. So check out Bruce. And hey, great points, of course, there, Boz. I'm with you, and I'm with
mm,
Chris in the sense that Catterall just did not do enough. And I figured coming in, the onus would likely be on Barboza to really press the action, though Catterall, he has the tools to do so. Great
mm.
counterpuncher, and I think we've seen that in some of the actions he's been in, even in this contest. Great counterpuncher, but
Yeah,
for me, he just likes to sit back a little bit too
yeah,
long. He's just willing to sit back there and just
mm,
let you come to him. When in this case, he probably should have pressed forward a bit more. And Barboza is the type of guy who he could realistically sit back as well and not engage as much, but he took the onus to engage in this one. And I
mm,
think that's what did it for him because he was pretty much
indeed.
the aggressor throughout. And Catterall, his best shots came, of course, when Barboza was coming in. He was able to land some of those counters, him being a southpaw, but he certainly
Mm,
should have pressed a bit more. And I think that would have changed the dynamic a bit. So I'm with you in the sense that
yeah,
there wasn't a ton that Catterall did to kind of go off of his sort of area where he was comfortable, you know?
yeah, and I think in hindsight, I think that might have been the reason why Carroll was robbed against Taylor in the first fight because that fight. I didn't think it was really like a dominant Carroll victory as so many said. No, it was kind of close, but he did
Yeah.
win, but because of his style, not always engaging, so much, and as you said, waiting and I think that is why he didn't get it. And of course, it was in Scotland, of course, among other things. But the judges don't like those kind of fighters that play too safe.
Yeah.
That's not something the judges like to see. Also, so
No,
that's how
yeah.
it is.
I'm with you
Yeah.
for sure. With you for sure there,
Mm.
Bob. Bruce Gas mentions 55 years ago today, Frazier versus Jimmy Ellis. One of my serious dives into boxing. Awesome. Good stuff. 55 years ago
Yeah.
today. So that's good stuff. Joe Frazier, Jimmy
That's
Ellis, two top tier
it's,
heavyweights.
like was that 55 years? I thought it was more. Well, all right. That was when Fraser first won the world title. Yeah.
Oh
That
yeah.
was it. Fourth round stoppage. It was. I know. I read about it. I've seen it too.
Oh yeah, I figured you had. Yeah. So yeah, two legends right there in the heavyweight game. And of course Frazier with that left hook. I was playing that game undisputed last night.
Yeah.
My opponent had Frazier old flack. But anyway, no, good stuff right there. Now, as far as Catterall Barboza, real quick before we close out that chapter, there is sort of a what's next type of situation for Barboza in terms of who the opponent will be. Now, of course, Teofimo Lopez, he has a title there at 140. I saw his name in some chatter or rumors or whatnot to face someone. I can't think of exactly who it is at this particular juncture, but you have the likes of him, and you have a lot of other talent there at 140. You got Pitbull, who just came off a great fight. You've got Ryan Garcia once he ultimately comes back. Devin Haney. You've got just a number of just top tier names that are still in and around. And you got some of the guys that could come up from 135. You got Antoine Russell, who's there at 140. Gary Antoine Russell, he's going to be fighting coming up. You got Alberto Puello, who had the victory over Russell. So you got some pretty good names there at 140. So it'll be interesting to see who Barboza ends up in the ring there with again.
Right now, 140 is a lot stronger than 147. That's for sure.
Oh, yes. 147, they're going to need sort of an influx of some of these other individuals that are at 140 right now. Or
just mostly Jaron Anderson, that's it.
Not
many others.
I like Memphis Stanionis, so we're going to get Ennis Stanionis, but after that, it starts to thin out a good bit. Well, we did hear news that Josh Taylor is he's moving up to 147. Right. How successful he'll be, I don't know. But he's moving up there. He's taking on Usman, who's the British fighter.
That was about time.
So he's going to be at 147. I just don't know. What will the time will tell as far as what he will be able to do there at 147. I know he was making 140 was getting tougher and tougher for him. So maybe he feels a little bit more comfortable body wise, and we'll see if he can rekindle some of that flame that was there, some of that fighting spirit. Well, he still had the spirit, but some of what was there when he was on that run at 140 to becoming undisputed, because he hasn't looked too good in his last several fights.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Shout out to Bruce Gass, 141 of the deepest divisions in the game. Yes, sir. It is. So plenty of talent there. So we'll see what transpires. I'm gonna stay up to date, keep you all in tune. So be sure to check us out. Again, Boxing Chit. We're here. Boz, Josh, check out Boz's Boxing, as I mentioned, and give it a like, subscribe. Same here with 86 Boxing. We appreciate you all. Now we're gonna jump into next week. Now there are a ton of fights next week, but what we're focusing on specifically is going to be what is touted as being the greatest card ever. The greatest card ever. Before I jump into that real quick, you have Flores Ariano, who's going to be fighting on Pro Box on Wednesday. Then you'll have Sandoval Bernaldez, that's going to be on UFC Fight Pass on Friday. And then on Saturday, you also have Luis Neri taking on, I think it's Tomi Kameda, the Japanese fighter, which should be a pretty good one right there at super bantamweight. That's going to be on Saturday. But what we'll focus on here is the one that everyone's been talking about, and that's that Riyadh, the last crescendo card that features some of the best talent in the sport going at it right now. And Josh Taylor, you asked the question of what are our thoughts on Dmitry Bivol, definitely one of today's best, no doubt about it. And he's just so happen to be one of the headliners in this last crescendo card, because it will be for undisputed supremacy, rematch between Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. Of course, we know that the two came in last time as undefeated fighters who were pretty much consensus-wise the best light heavyweights in the game. And I think there was really no question there. So we finally got to see the two going at it. And it ended up being I believe it was a unanimous decision victory for Artur Beterbiev in what was a very close fight. Very close fight. Some had it going the other way. Me personally, I had it going in Bivol's favor from what I saw. And I watched it twice. I think I scored it as well. Yeah, I did score it through Fight Night Scores. Be sure to check out Fight Night Scores, fight-score.com if you want to score some fights right there. Very comprehensive. So I did score.
It
Was that
was
by?
a majority decision. I
Okay,
just checked.
majority decision. All right,
Yeah,
good to go. So majority decision. So one judge had it even. Then I take it. So
yeah,
that shows you just how close the fight was as far as what people thought. And I think even if you ask people here to this day, you'll get people from both directions in terms of who they thought won. Now this is the rematch. All the marbles are out there on the table once again. This time, Beterbiev is coming in as the undisputed light heavyweight champion, and Dmitry Bivol, he's in a role he's not too familiar with as far as coming off a loss and fighting for all the belts now. But that being said, he seems to be built for it. I've seen some of the kind of discussions between the two. Both of them are very stoic. You don't get a ton of like back and forth and BS. They're just like they're about the mission there for sure, from what I see. But Boz, what are your thoughts heading into this return bout that is one of the biggest, maybe the biggest that we'll see here this year in the
yeah.
sport?
Well, I think we all will have to fight just a little, change his fight plan a little bit, probably, because in the first fight he kind of put the the foot off the pedal in the last few rounds. I thought he kind of just also was a little too careful and didn't engage enough, and that's probably what cost him the decision. Even though I also thought he won, he did enough to win that fight. But with a fight like that, a huge fight, and the judges, everybody has their own way of seeing these things, and maybe they have their own guy. They feel
Yeah,
they want to win even sometimes. I don't know, but yeah, of course we know that judges can be biased. We know that by now. Everybody knows that. And so for Bivol to get that decision from at least two judges, he has to just maybe start a little slower. I don't know, and then just build it up, the aggression and all that. I mean, just take it up a notch as the fight progresses in the second half. I mean, so that would probably be the best thing to do. I don't know, but for Beterbiev, I mean, he just has to do what he did last time. Obviously, that's enough, and
yeah,
just try to land his biggest punches, and of course, and yeah, just win enough rounds and maybe score a knockdown. Who knows? I don't think he can knock out Bivol, and I don't think Bivol can. Well, I don't think he can knock out Beterbiev either. So most likely it will go 12 rounds again. So
oh
yeah,
yeah.
we'll see. Hmm.
Yeah, both of them have great chins. I mean, we've seldom
Yeah.
seen them hurt just in general throughout their careers. Excuse me, two instances I can remember. Bivol was legitimately hurt in the 11th round, I believe it was, of the matchup with Joe Smith Jr. He got caught with a shot, and he was legit hurt there, but he weathered the storm, and he was good by that 12th round. Came a little bit
Hmm.
too late for Joe, and Joe had lost pretty much all the rounds prior to that, and then he lost the 12th round too. So he was
Hmm.
hurt there. And then as far as Beterbiev, he's never been like really hurt in a way that had him very wobbly, but Anthony
No.
Yard caught him with a couple of good shots. He seemed
Yeah.
to handle them fairly well. He did get dropped by Caleb Johnson.
Johnson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Caleb Johnson. That was more of a flash knockdown type thing, and it certainly didn't
Right.
change the dynamic of the fight in that way. So neither of these guys are really hurt from an overall standpoint. And I take it that Bivol might take a more aggressive approach in this contest as far as offensively, but then again, doing so also opens them up to probably some of the best suits of Artur Beterbiev because he can counter, and when he does counter, of course, they are some pretty big shots. And we
Yeah.
saw and heard some of those shots as they were landing in this last contest. So it's going to be, I'd imagine, continually, it'll still be sort of a dangerous fight for both for varying reasons. And I think
Yeah.
we'll see a little bit more technically from Bivol as we did in the first fight, but
Hmm.
just weathering the Beterbiev storm and having to try and stay away for a full 12 rounds, that can be tough right there.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why he slowed down in the last few rounds. And yeah, I think the thing is, but Bivol has a good chin and also a really good defense, so that's why it's so hard to knock him out. And yeah, I don't think maybe if this was Beterbiev from like 3 years back, maybe I don't know, maybe he could do it. But also, let's not forget, Bivol has an age advantage here
Oh, yeah, that
also.
is true.
So yeah,
That is true. Shout out to Edis Fernandez. Udis, I appreciate you there.
hey,
Says, I know
hey,
Bivol
this,
will make adjustments, but better BF will also make adjustments to put Bivol down and not needing the judges. Yeah, I appreciate you there, Udis Fernandez. Always some good stuff
maybe
there. Thanks for dropping by. No doubt about
it's
it.
always it's always possible. I mean, if anybody can knock Bivol or well, at least down in right now in 175, that would be better be most
Yeah,
likely. I don't know about
yeah,
anybody else.
yeah.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah, yeah. I think so. It would certainly be just short of a shocker if either one of them got knocked out, like you said, because they have great chins and there's
Yeah.
not, when you're at this level, especially considering these two, there's not a ton of separation as far as those traits and abilities. There may be small things, but you're talking about the elite of the elite, so they're
Hmm.
they're built for it. They've gone through it on the amateur side and worked their way
Yeah.
through it here on the pro ranks, and yeah,
Hmm.
that it takes something extra bit of special when you see those guys maintain or get those to stoppages against an opponent of this caliber in the sport. But it's certainly possible there because we know Artur Beterbiev prior to this last matchup, he'd stopped pretty much everyone he'd been in with. So that showed me that Bivol
Good.
was sort of a level above, in that sense right there.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, Bivol is just one of the most talented fighters, boxers of this well of all times you might say, but especially of this era. Definitely he is up there with I mean, he even proved let's to be honest, he even proved that he is better than Canelo, you might say. He
Oh
did
yeah,
beat him convincingly, so
yeah.
you can make a very good argument. He should be up there among the top three pound for pound
Oh yeah, no doubt.
boxers.
No doubt. I think that's a legitimate argument there for sure. Certainly top five, somewhere in there for sure. Um,
Yep.
cheers to Ryan Frazier. Drop through Boxing Talk Up North. Appreciate you dropping by there, Ryan Frazier. Says mega card on the way. I can't wait. Same here, buddy. Hey, we can't wait either. Hey, be sure to go check out Ryan. Boxing Talk Up North. I'm going to check you out there, Ryan. Appreciate you dropping by. Boxing
Mm,
shit here. Josh Boz, 86 Boxing. Boz's Boxing, that's the channel as well that's connected. So we appreciate you there, Ryan. So check him out, folks. Ryan, I'm going to check you out as well. Thanks for dropping by. But yeah, so I was thinking in terms of implications. Of course, this is a big matchup. Now, if Artur Beterbiev wins, I suppose they move on. Then maybe we see something to the tune of Beterbiev against the winner of Joshua Buatsi and Caleb Smith, even though he's already been in there with Caleb Smith. But let's assume Buatsi wins, then that would be sort of a new
yeah.
opponent for him, or there may be some others out there. Now, if Dmitry Bivol wins, of course, then I feel like we have to have a trilogy matchup. That's going to be the only logical thing right there. So I think whoever wins is going to be what determines what the implications are for the division here moving forward.
I'm sure these guys are like Turkey, Al Sheikh, and the others are will be more than thrilled to make a third fight.
Yeah.
I mean, we know how that works, but yeah, if Beterbiev should win again, then probably, I mean, like Eldest mentioned, maybe he will be in line to face Benavides next, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, then. then he may end his career also on a grand note, whether he loses or wins. Well,
Edit says pillow fisted Beterbiev. That's funny. Oh yeah, I forgot about Beterbiev because they did. It was an eliminator between him and Morel. So yeah, Beterbiev.
if anything, I think Benavides showed in the last fight that he can hit actually
Oh yeah,
better than I thought. So I wouldn't call him pillow fisted for sure, not even close.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
funny there,
he has
Edit.
grown. He has grown into the division nicely, I would say. Yeah,
Yeah, and I wasn't thinking him. I mentioned Buatsi because he's on the card.
yeah,
That's a
Boatsy,
fight on
yeah,
his
I know.
card. But
Well,
yeah,
I know, Callum Smith. I don't know where he is right now when it comes to his shape and all that. I mean, I just saw the other day he blamed the loss to Beterbiev. I mean, the way he lost on an injury. So maybe,
mm,
who knows? Maybe that
yeah,
was the reason why he was, stopped in like 7 rounds. But we'll see. This fight with Watsy will show a lot and answer a lot of questions, I think, about his
yeah, certainly,
future.
certainly. Because yeah, I've always felt Caleb's a damn good fighter. Of course, he's
Yeah.
come up short against Canelo and Beterbiev. And in the
Mm,
Canelo contest, I felt like he didn't do enough, and it wasn't a good look for him. Just the way it went down, just overall. But Beterbiev,
yeah.
I understand. I mean, injury or not, I think it was just going to be a problem regardless because of the fact that Beterbiev has that game changing power there. So we'll certainly
Yeah.
see here with Buatsi, and we know Caleb has the experience edge on Buatsi. He has the
Mm,
competition edge on Buatsi. Let's see if Caleb can sort of derail the apple cart because there have been a couple of individuals who've come somewhat close and made it super tough for Buatsi.
And Watsy hasn't scored a knockout now for a while, and if he should do that now against Smith, that would be, of course, a major statement. But
A
yeah,
telltale
I don't know.
sign for Smith as well.
Yeah, Smith also has, of course, a good chance of knocking. A realistic chance of knocking out Botsy. I think
Yeah,
that then he really must be on his best at his best, really his best
yeah,
performance.
I
Yeah,
agree, and I like Buatsi. I think he's damn good. When he was first reaching this stage, I said, hey, maybe he has what it takes to win a world title, and he can be
yeah,
hit for sure. So Caleb will have his opportunities if he really goes for it.
yeah. Honestly, I thought that Willie Hutchinson would win against Boatsy because he
Oh yeah,
looked really good before that against Craig Kennedy, and Boatsy kind of struggled a little bit against Kennedy and all
yeah.
that. But I was surprised by Boatsy that he did drop. I mean, Hutchinson a couple of times, and he won definitely in that fight. He won clearly.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. It is you funny says you don't think what Benavidez has what it takes for receiving the torch hot. He could not hurt Grandpa Vosdick or
Grandpa.
Morel who stood in front of him
Who
all
wants to
night.
hurt him? Yeah.
Hey Morel, hey, he showed some metal there. He showed some metal there.
I
So
mean,
no, hey,
Bozic is,
we'll see.
yeah, he's still a world class fighter. I mean, doesn't matter if he was stopped by Beterbiev. It was 10 rounds and he was doing well before that. So Bozic can fight. He's no joke, of course. And he can
Yeah,
hit also pretty well. Yeah. He's a
yeah,
pretty big light heavyweight also. He's 6'2".
yeah, that is right. Yeah, he's a solid guy. And he
Yeah.
was on a little comeback from a good deal of time off, but he said it did his body some good. So one of
Mm,
those things. But yeah, good
yeah.
stuff. So that's gonna be the main event, the light heavyweight matchup. Then what I
Oh, really?
presume to be the
Oh, yeah,
co-main
yeah.
event, we're gonna have a world heavyweight contest, and it's going to be Daniel Dynamite Dubois putting his W or IBF title on the line against um,
Joseph
Joseph Parker.
Parker.
I had just saw it. Yeah, Joseph Parker representing New Zealand, and this is going to be a very interesting matchup just because
Mm,
both of these guys are very much different in their approach as far as
very.
their approach, their style of fighting. Now, both of
Mm,
them have some pretty solid resumes. The edge to Parker, but Dubois certainly has a darn good resume for this little
yeah.
period and run that he's been on as well. And both of them look good in their last several contests. So this is going to be interesting
Mm.
as far as how this goes down. What do you see here, Boss?
Yeah, this will be really interesting. I mean, see if Dubois can really crack Parker's chin. First of all, we know he's only been knocked out once by Joyce, and that was in the late rounds, of course.
Yeah,
And another thing is Parker has really been looking like a rejuvenated fighter in the last couple of years, and yeah, he seems very willing and very motivated. However, Dubois is just a beast. He's physically very powerful and hits really hard. He's just a very formidable fighter from that angle.
yeah,
The physical angle of it. While Parker is probably a better technical fighter on from that angle. He's
yeah,
probably better, and as you said he has more experience and not that much more, but he does have a little more from these big fights. So that's going to be interesting. I can see it. I mean, I can see it going like this. Like if Dubois doesn't manage to stop Parker in the, well, let's say first 8 rounds, then if he can start to tire later on, and then Parker maybe takes over and maybe even wins in the end on points. So yeah, it can go that way, but I don't know really. It's hard to say right now. I mean,
yeah,
Dubois has been looking really good, but against guys that are wear very big, very heavy, not too athletic. Even Joshua, you might argue he wasn't at
yeah,
his best when he lost to, of course, to Dubois. So even though that's a very big victory on paper, of course, but technically that wasn't, as I said, the best version of Joshua. And but Dubois really fought a perfect fight there, no doubt. He fought a
yeah,
perfect fight, and but here he has someone that is very good and very determined, very tough guy. And yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, I don't know.
I agree.
Probably I would lean a little more towards Dubois, but it's like 60-40 for me. Fight
Okay.
something.
I think
Yeah.
that's so I think 60-40 is a bit wide, but that being said, hey, you might be right
Or
here. He
55-45.
Yeah, that
Maybe.
more close to it. What I would
Yeah.
go 55-45. Yeah, this is a interesting matchup for sure. It's hard for me to just say definitively who will win. I want to lean with Joseph Parker. I just like what he brings to the table. Of course, we've always talked
Yeah.
about sort of the changes that went into place when working with Andy Lee, and he seemed to have found
Mm,
his punch. He found his offense a bit more here in this latter portion of what's gone on of his career here. Now,
yeah.
Daniel Dubois, of course, the younger fighter. You could argue fresher fighter in the sense that
Mm,
he is a bit younger and he kind of was on a little fast paced trajectory. He's worked his way up here, and
yeah.
I don't think he has a ton of wear and tear overall. Outside of course, we know what happened with Joe Joyce, and by that same token, and when we look at Joseph Parker, Joe Joyce stopped him as well. And but Parker, I thought he was landing some pretty good shots in there. Was unable to really crack Joyce in that way. And same with Dubois. I mean, Joyce, man,
Yeah.
it's like his chin at that particular point seemed invincible, or
Yeah.
certainly relative to where he is now. But it's
Was
one of those crazy things.
yeah, but like he after knocking out Parker, it's like he reached his zenith and then he just declined very
Yeah,
quickly to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
crazy. Shout out to Zorro De La Vega. Appreciate you there, Vega. Alex
Hey,
Vega, great chatting with you. Of
there
course, hey,
he
we need to
is.
get back on one of these things, get your opinions and all that stuff there, Alex. Check out Alex, folks. Go give him a like, subscribe, certainly. Zorro De La Vega. Yeah, Zorro says, I like how you worded that, Josh. I agree. I find myself wanting Joseph Parker to win. I'm a fan of his fighting style and skills. Dubois has been definitely doing his thing. Yes, indeed, there, Vega. Yeah, same
Doing that
here.
thing.
Because Parker, of
Doing
course,
that.
he's worked his way back up here. Dubois, he has
Yeah,
as
I
well.
mean,
They had counted
great
Dubois
guy.
out after he was
Yeah.
kind of counted out after that loss to Joyce in the way it went down, but he's worked his way back up to where he is now, so it's an interesting one.
I think Parker, earlier on, when every time I would see him, I'd say, oh, how can a guy that nice be a boxer? And now I think he's kind of, gotten used to. He's kind of maybe gained a meaner streak now than he had before. So maybe that's why he wasn't so
Yeah.
successful before. I don't know. He just lacked some of that killer instinct, maybe. I don't know, beast quality, whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Certainly, certainly. Edith says, despite his losses, he's been getting better and better, and he's only 25. Yeah, he's a kid for heavyweights. How do you think
27.
he'll look by 30? Yeah,
Yeah.
Dubois, that is. So yeah, I mean that's riding on his side there for sure. I think when it comes down to it, there, Boz, I'm probably
Mm.
gonna be leaning that same direction that you are, as far as this might be like a slight edge to Dubois, but I
Yeah.
think Parker will certainly give him a fight. And if Parker wins, of course, not a shocker or anything of that nature, because Parker's a damn good fighter. But I might get that slight edge to Dubois for that youth. He seems to be on a pretty high trajectory, at least right now. He seemed to have found himself in his confidence, I guess you can say. Though he was always seemingly fairly confident, and I think that's why he took the Joyce fight at the time that he did, and maybe that came a little too soon for him. But
Yeah.
that being
Yeah.
said, it seems
Probably.
to shake out well for him right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just also, hooking up with Andy Lee and the whole Fury clan has done him well, obviously. Yeah, there you go. I mean, he just has a different look in his eyes now, when
Yeah,
if you have seen that face to face with Dubois, and he was just a different kind of man now. He never talked any trash before, and now he does kind of talk a little
oh yeah,
trash. So yeah, but you have to be like that. I mean, this is about hurting other people, right? So if you
oh yeah,
are a too nice guy, you will not be able. I mean, when you can knock somebody out if they are hurt, you finish them off, right? But if you are too kind, you cannot do that. You feel sorry, right, for a guy who is hurt. So maybe that guy comes back later on and finishes you off. That's how it
yeah.
works. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, you're right. And
Mm.
it is, you might be right there. You might want Parker to win, but hey, if Dubois wins, of course, that sets the stage for a major
The
rematch.
rematch.
And in that matchup or leading up to it, all people are going to talk about is that body shot heard around the
Yeah.
world, or
Man.
seemingly body shot low blow that could have
Yeah.
ended Usyk when they fought the first time. So I'm sure that's going to be a hot topic.
Dubois can hit, and once again, I mean, one other thing, he's not Zhang, so he's got
Yeah,
a little better, athleticism and all that. So if people are gonna take that fight as a reason why they think Parker will win, I wouldn't really recommend that to
yeah.
use that as an example. Zhang is a very different guy and much older, also, by the way. So.
Yeah, that's a good point right there. Certainly
Mm.
worth mentioning there, Boz. So I agree. Yeah, it's gonna be a little
Mm.
bit different. And despite his size, he can move pretty decently in there in terms of
Yeah,
when he's bouncing around on his toes a bit. He can move pretty decently, you know.
yeah,
And he's getting
he's a
better, as Edith said. He is getting better. I will say that. I mean, he
yeah,
has come
he's
a
a
long
beast.
way.
As I said, he's a beast right now. I don't see many being able to beat him. but we'll see. Certainly
I
not
think.
many
Oh yeah,
people.
yeah.
Yeah,
What may ultimately be the difference is if Parker can hurt Dubois. If he could hurt him,
yeah,
that will go a
yeah. That's
long
the
way
thing.
for him right there.
He can. I mean, I think he can, but I mean, well, Parker is hardly a guy that you would favor to win by a knockout in a fight like this. Well, maybe
Yeah,
a late one. I don't know, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Very, very good one. Salute to Rodolfo Rivera Jr. Drop by. Appreciate you there, Rodolfo. Thanks for dropping in, buddy. As always, great chatting with you. Brian says, "Yeah, I want to see Dubois versus Usyk, but man, if Parker can make it back to the top of the hill, that is a good story in its own right." Oh yeah, very much a feel-good story, certainly, because it would have taken him a good period to get back here to get to the title again, and that would be absolutely insane there, especially if you look
yeah,
at their trajectories. He lost his title to Anthony Joshua, and just think about that now. He will have rose again and picked up another world
yeah.
title. Joshua's kind of on that downslide now, and that's
He
amazing that Parker is
definitely
still on the up.
he shouldn't have taken that fight. He wasn't ready for Joshua back then. I think, and Joshua being the beast that he was back then, it was it would be hard for anybody to beat him back then. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Oh no, you're right. But yeah, good stuff there, Ryan. And shout out Tay. Appreciate you dropping by. Tay says Murataya fighting for the IBF interim. Okay, so yeah, Murataya, and someone had
oh
thrown
yeah.
that out there earlier. This is in reference to 140
So
and potentially Keyshawn. That would be a good one. Murataya versus Keyshawn Davis. So if that happens, hey, that'll be a dope one.
major,
And both are top
right?
ranked, so that might be what's kind of in store.
Yeah, he's also unbeaten. Right, has pretty quite many knockouts. Yeah,
So Zoro De La Vega says a lot of good matchups to be made at heavyweight. Fingers crossed, Jared Anderson mindset changes so it can be hyped for him to be back in the mix. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's see him
hmm.
certainly bounce back.
I
Hopefully
mean,
he can make that bounce back. I haven't caught that fight from yesterday or Friday that he ended up fighting. I'm gonna check it out, but I know he got the win. So hey,
yeah,
no shame in losing to Bacoli. It's hey how you bounce back from it for
yeah,
sure.
but Coley, that's what I want to say. The fight that I probably would want to see the most right now is Bacoli versus Dubois. So that, yep.
Oh yes, indeed. Yeah, that'll be a good one. And Zora De La Vega, Murataya got to win first. You're right there. Murataya has put up a stinker before,
Mm.
so he does have to win. So we'll see how it goes for sure. Real quick, let's move on to this. Man, this is such a stacked card here, Boz. We got to talk about it. It's so freaking stacked. Let me see here. We're gonna move on to the next contest, and of course, it's Virgil Ortiz versus
Oh,
uh, Israel Madrimov, and
oh
that
yeah,
is
wow.
a middleweight or no
Junior,
junior middleweight, so
yeah.
154-pound contest that is
Mm.
going to be taking place on this card as well. We have Virgil Ortiz, who is now about 4 fights into, and this is either his fourth or fifth fight into his 154-pound campaign, and he's taking on Israel Madrimov, who's competed there since he turned pro, decorated amateur background as well. And Madrimov just, of course, recently fought Terrence Crawford, and he did
Yeah,
he did pretty decently in that matchup there. And uh, I think that
yeah.
this is going to be an interesting one here. One thing that was very glaring for me is just Ortiz's size. I didn't realize he was that big compared to Madrimov when you see them standing there. And if you didn't know
Oh,
any better,
yeah.
you would think that Ortiz has been competing at 154 pounds for his career, but he is bigger than Madrimov. Now, I do think Madrimov is a better boxer fundamentally, technically.
Mm.
That being said, when I saw them face to face, that had me thinking a little bit differently in terms of how this fight could go there. Though Madrimov certainly has the tools to outbox him, but just that grit and will of Ortiz and him coming forward, man, he's got the size on his side, size and power, which is going to be a little bit.
Yeah,
Of course, we know with Terrence Crawford, he was moving up to 154. for that fight with Madrimov. That was his first fight there. But Ortiz has always been one of those guys who just seemingly is heavy-handed, and he comes with
Mm.
it. So it's going to be interesting. What do you think there?
Yeah, Mattermove is not a tall light middleweight, but he's actually had a fight above that weight once so
Mm.
far.
So Zorro de
But
la Vega, he's going to. He says Madridov is a monster. I expect Virgil Ortiz to be a dog that gets put down. Interesting there, Vega, Alex.
yeah, I mean, now after that Bohachuk fight, which I thought Bohachuk should have won, Ortiz doesn't look as formidable to me as he once did, and he is, I mean, a knockout artist. So when they can't get the knockout, they struggle, and
Yeah,
lose often against a guy like Vanderbilt, really, really technically superb fighter and kind of awkward even the way he
yeah,
throws punches. Yeah, just I think it will be hard, very hard fight for Ortiz, but I think maybe even for Madrimu, but more so for Ortiz because he doesn't seem to cope well against these technical fighters, really, really great technical fighters. So, yeah, that's pretty
yeah.
much it. I don't think anybody will win by a knockout here. Probably not, but yeah, it will go the distance. I think, and hope that Madrimu wins. I mean, gets the decision if he really wins that fight. So, yep.
All right, good stuff. Hey, you're not alone there. Ryan Fraser mentions, I agree. I agree, man. I think Madrigal stops Ortiz. I think Madrigal gained some confidence coming out of the Crawford fight. All right, good stuff there. Ryan, Vega, Alex, we got Boz each. I'm gonna go Ortiz. Now Madrigal is my guy. I've seen pretty much the majority of his fights, and I actually saw him live as well. He's the real deal. And I've always felt he had pretty much everything, or he continues to have everything, to be at that world championship level, which he is at that elite level. And no shame in Crawford and losing to him. He was like consensus number 1 or 2 or 3 pound for pound, just depending on how you sort of rate them. So no
Mm,
shame there. And he gave up he put on a good fight. And like I said, I do think he is overall better than Ortiz. But I'm
yeah.
just looking at Ortiz, man, when he's hurt, when he's in a dire situation, he seems to just kind of pull out all stops, pull a rabbit out the hat, whatever it may be, and just really goes for it. And that determination. So I thought he won that Boachuk contest, but he didn't let the
Yeah.
knockdowns or whatnot phase him, and he kept coming forward and kept really going for it. And he was landing some huge shots. So shout out to Boachuk's
He's a
chin. It's
warrior.
certainly better
Yeah,
than what I thought. And
he's a warrior.
yeah, Warrior, and that's it. And I feel that
Mm,
we might see a bit of that, him pressing Madrimal to the 10th degree and eventually just getting to Madrimal, especially with the body work, slowing him down, then forcing some of those exchanges where it will be very interesting for sure. And Ortiz will have an opportunity. Now, yeah,
mm,
I imagine I'm going to be in the minority across the board, but I think Ortiz, the size factored in for me as well, because I think Ortiz, he's coming to 154, and given some of his struggles as far as making weight at 147, it seems like he probably should have been here at 154 a longer while ago. And I just feel like, yeah, that's going to factor in that size. Just seeing him there face to face, man, I think he's going to be pressing Madrigal, so it should be interesting. I got Ortiz winning, uh, maybe well, I don't know the late stoppage, but maybe on the decision or late stoppage, one of the two there. And I like Madrigal,
he's
so it's
got.
gonna be interesting. I
I
could be
mean,
wrong though.
yeah,
Don't place any money on it based on my pick. I tell you that.
he's got the power definitely to knock out anyone. I think probably, but Mother move is not, of course, easy to knock out
Yeah, he's
anyone.
not. He's not.
He
You're
became
right.
the first guy in several years that Crawford couldn't knock out. So that says it all,
Oh
pretty
yeah.
much. Mm,
All right. Yeah, we got a we got a lot of leading to Scout. Shout out to Scout says salute brothers. Good morning. Great weekend of fights.
really,
Vince got the knockout too. All right. Shout out to Skywalker Boxing Media. Be sure to go check them out, folks. Give them a like and subscribe. Good content over there. Some interviews and
mm,
things that are going down. So be sure to check them out. And shout out to Vince Pyros. Got that dub as well. There, he's coming up in the flyweight game. One of the top guys out there. So salute to you. Shout out to Jesse Aguilar. Appreciate you dropping by. Jesse says, I'm leaning towards Madrigal. Hey, everybody's leaning Madrigal. No luck, no luck.
exactly.
I'm
For
going to be on
Joshua.
the odds. Madrigal is a beast, though. He is an absolute beast for sure. Hey, appreciate you,
Yeah.
Jesse. Thanks for dropping by, buddy, and dropping a comment there. For sure. So it's gonna be interesting. I will say that there, Vi. So we're going Madrimov. I guess collectively for the show, Boxing Chit is going Madrimov, but I'm going
Yeah.
Ortiz in this one, and it's gonna be
Oh,
interesting. There,
dream.
I'll come
The
back
dream.
and I'll eat crow once if it's otherwise. And my man Madrimov outboxes the crap out of Virgil Ortiz. Hey,
I
yeah, that's
mean,
fine.
if Bohachu could really like have him really fight for his life, then Madrimov can beat him. So
Oh yeah.
that
Yeah, no, you're right there. Skywalker says got Nonito and Zafara on tonight's show. Cool. So be
they're
sure to
off.
check that out, folks. Nonito
That's
Thaner
good.
and Zafara
Congratulations, team.
interview
Uh,
wise. Cool. Good stuff there, Skywalker. Define Irony. Salute says, what up, 86? Madrimal by stoppage around 8 or less. Wow. Hey, we got some heavy hitters, some heavy hitting.
yeah,
All the money's in favor of Madrimal there. Oh my goodness,
that would
Virgil.
be that would take his greatest performance probably ever. To I
Yeah,
think.
hey, we'll see here for sure. Hey, but no, that's telling though. Yeah, that shows you the respect that Magic Miles have, and I'm all for it. As mentioned, he's a damn good boxer. He had that amateur
Yeah.
background to go with it. So certainly on point. But appreciate your Define Irony. Go be sure to check him out as well, folks. Always great having you here. And I see the picture there. War. Talking about a middleweight right there. War. Let's get it.
Mhm.
No, that's good stuff there. So real quick there, So yeah, we had that one. Man, this card is so freaking stacked. I know we can probably run through some
Yeah,
of these a little bit quicker, but we got
too
Shakur
stacked.
Stevenson versus Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield, and this is at 135. And I tell you, Kid Austin is coming into here pretty darn confident in facing Shakur Stevenson, and I think that says a little bit of something because of the fact that
Mhm.
Shakur is certainly widely considered one of the best boxers in the game. But that being said, Floyd Schofield, he's coming confident. He's a solid guy. This
Mhm.
is a big step up competition wise for him. I will say that he seemingly has some very good tools. He's gonna come in shape, no doubt about it. He has the look. He might have a little bit of pop, of course. I don't know if he has the type that will kind of do it and slow down Shakur Stevenson, or if he'd be able to catch up to him in that way. Now, Schofield, some people were talking about his last fight where he did get dropped at least once. It could have been twice, but he got hurt a couple of times as well. And he could be hit. And Shakur Stevenson, when he really presses down, pushes forward, he can land with high accuracy. That's one of his things. So this is going to be an interesting one. Maybe a step too soon for Schofield. That could end up being the story, or maybe right on time. I don't know. You can let me know what you think
Mhm.
there, boss.
I really don't know much about Schofield, so I haven't really watched him yet. I think fight, but Shakur, I know he's just fantastic. He's he's amazing, and yeah, I don't think anybody can beat him right now. Anyway, probably not.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, Schofield, he's young and on the come up. He's put himself out there, had some good wins on some big
Mm,
stages for him and all that stuff. And he is a guy who will go for it offensively, which is what I think
mm,
Shakur is going to like. I'm with Alex. I've long felt that Shakur would win. Somebody's going to have to beat Shakur for me to think otherwise. Like you mentioned there, Boz, I'm kind of in that same boat. Alex mentioned I'm sick of the weird camp stories from Schofield about the attempts of sabotage to their camp by Shakur. I heard, I was hearing some of that yesterday, as a matter of fact, there, Alex. Very interesting right there. But it is going to be one of those contests that, hey, I'll take it. I felt Schofield, hey, he wants to take this direct route, and that's a big, huge thing for him. He's stepping up to a level he hasn't fought at yet here as a pro. But sometimes this is where sort of stars are made, stars are born, and he's gonna have it in pretty tough. I will say that I'm leaning Shakur Stevenson, no doubt. But I'd just be interesting to see how much of a contest Schofield can make it, and regardless of the outcome, him not letting it break him, I think that would be the big thing to kind of take into account with this matchup here for sure. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes down. Now, by another contest, two guys you're familiar with, of course, is Carlos Adames taking on Hamzat Shiraz. And is going to be going down at 160 pounds. Two of the best there at 160, which kind of thinned out a bit as Canelo left and some others moved up and on. But they're trying to get it back in the mix here. So I would say that this is an opportunity for someone to make their case and then potentially face Janibek Alimkhanuly and unify the division. I don't recall how many belts Janibek has, but this is an opportunity, certainly.
I don't know either. He had two, but does he still have the IBF one? I don't think so. He still has the WBA, I believe, or something.
Okay, yeah.
Or maybe he has IBF. Well, I don't know. He had to vacate one of them, I believe. So
okay,
yeah.
Okay, good to go.
What do I think? Yeah. Well, Hamza Shiraz has just been, looking really amazing, pretty much.
Yeah,
like he's too much for most guys at 160. It is both his punching power and height and all that, his size and his aggressiveness. So I don't know. I mean, of course, Adames is a very good fighter in his own right, but he's still quite a lot shorter than Shiraz, so that might be a problem for him. So I kind of lean towards Shiraz, even maybe stopping Adames. I don't know, sometimes after the 8th round or something, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. So that would probably be my prediction. I mean, Adames can also really. Well, there we don't agree. Adames is very good. As I said, he might even surprise us. I don't know, but Shiraz has just been very, very impressive so far, I think, and it will take a lot for him to get stopped, I think, by anybody right now at 160 anyway. So that's what I think, but who knows? Of course,
no,
anything can happen.
That's solid. That is solid. Real quick, Tay says, do y'all think Schofield will be fighting orthodox or southpaw? I would think that it would be interesting. I know he switches. I can't remember what his strong suit is. Maybe him being a actual orthodox fighter, right? I don't know. I would say stick to that, whatever that strong suit is. Now it would be, considering Shakur, he's a southpaw. It would be a interesting look for Shakur, him fighting Schofield and Schofield being in that southpaw stance, but can he effectively operate there for the entirety of a fight with Shakur? I don't know. So it'd be interesting right there. But I would say, kind of whatever that base sort of stance that he operates from more would be ideal, which I believe is the orthodox, right? So we'll see if he sticks to that. Be interesting. And Vega mentions Turkey has been connecting Shiraz to a Canelo fight, Adames by stoppage. So that'll be interesting there, Vega. I've been leaning Shiraz, big guy, got a very good jab, long jab at that as well. Carlos Adames, of course, Adames, he's solid. He's a solidly built guy. He can take some damage, and he can box as well. You know, for one of those guys who is has a lot of muscle. He can move and box pretty well, so it should be good technically. I think that
Yeah.
Shiraz might operate to keep him on the outside, which I think would be his best bet because he'll have that size and length on him, that height, and then that reach. And I think
Hmm.
that could be the big factor for Shiraz working behind that jab. Both guys are very good, and both guys will be worthy opponents for Janovic. Should that happen next,
Hmm.
I'm gonna lean
Yeah.
Shiraz. I'm gonna lean slightly Shiraz there myself personally as well.
Yeah.
But hey, Adamas, he has what it takes to get the victory over Shiraz because this is a step. So this would, I think, would
Yeah.
be the toughest opponent for Shiraz right
He
here in
just
taking on Adamas.
he just needs to box and not slug it out, brawl. I don't think Adames can win that way. He needs to be a little more clever and just and fast, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
and I
then
know
yeah, two more
Shiraz
matchups.
doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't plan to stay at 160 very long. So yeah, even if he does unify those titles, he's a very big guy for middleweight. So
Yeah,
he'll be
yeah, I see him
moving up.
moving up for sure. He has the
Yeah,
frame, and
six
yeah, I
three.
think that's in the near future. Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
it'll be interesting. He'll be a welcome addition to 168 for sure because there's some great matchups that could be made there once he
Mm.
actually moves up. Thinking about him and Iglesias, him with some of the guys like Caleb Plant, Berlanga. I want to see him get some of those guys. Certainly Iglesias, Berlanga,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
Mbili, those type guys
Mm.
could be
Yep.
some real offense right there from those
Yeah.
opponents. So we'll see. But yeah, two more real quick. So one, of course, we kind of alluded to it: Joshua Buatsi versus Caleb Smith. It's sort of a
Mm.
show and prove fight. I guess you could say for both of them. For Joshua Buatsi, prove that hey, I am on this level, and despite what
Mm.
has happened, me looking bad in some fights or going the distance or whatever, I'm here. This moment, this stage, I'm about to show you how it goes down. And then for Caleb Smith, of course, hey, I've come up short in my two biggest fights. This is a third opportunity on a major stage, though I've done some other solid fights and I've looked well. But all right, this is one where I might be coming in as the underdog, and he has to show that okay, that other stuff it happened, but right now 175 I'm meant to be, and it'll be interesting there. Now I'm gonna lean Joshua Buatsi. I do like Buatsi. I think he, even though he'll have some kind of ugly fights that are thrown in the mix there, where he doesn't look as good, doesn't look as explosive, and he doesn't throw as much. I would say that I feel like he's going to come into this ready, and he's going to be able to nullify whatever Caleb Smith brings to the table. He'll have to watch for that power for sure. And Caleb is a solid
Yeah.
boxer, but I think
Oh yeah.
Buatsi and his I think the youth will be on his side slightly, right? Because he's probably
Yeah. I
around
mean,
30 now or something like that. But I'm gonna go Joshua Buatsi. Just I feel like, hey, that's where the trajectory is leaning, and he has
yeah.
what it takes, I believe, to be able to beat Caleb Smith. And I do like Caleb Smith. I just think Buatsi will do what he needs to do.
Yeah, it's true. I think Callum Smith, had this fight been happening 2 years ago or something, I would probably have said, yeah, Smith, Callum wins definitely. But at this point where he is at a place, coming off that loss to Beterbiev, a bad loss, even though it was against a great fighter, but still, he got a beating there. So
Sure.
he also had before that some inactivity issues and all that stuff. So we don't know where he is right now. That's the problem. That's why I cannot really say I favor Callum Smith to win this fight. But if he manages to pull out one more or anyway pieces of his old self, back, and then he can win, of course. But yeah, right now it seems like Boatsy is the more logical choice
Yeah,
to pick as the winner because he's been very solid. Hasn't had a loss or anything. Hasn't lost yet. Even though, yeah, you said it yourself. Not all of his victories are very impressive, but
he
he's
finds
had
a
a
way.
few. Yeah, he's had a few, and this is his big chance, and it means a lot to him, definitely. So if he loses this, now he knows he's back in the waiting line. So
Yeah,
most
yeah,
likely,
no doubt about it. And
yeah,
yeah, I actually thought Buatsi's fight against Dan Aziz wasn't that bad. Some people didn't like it,
yeah,
but I thought it wasn't too bad. I mean, he did his thing, and he hurt
mm.
Aziz on a couple of
Yeah. And
occasions.
that he said it. I mean, excuses. Yeah, I don't like that Callum is trying to
Oh
excuse the
yeah,
loss to
you did mention that.
Beterbiev on an injury, and well, maybe even if he did have one, I mean, just take it, in your stride, and you got beat by a better fighter. That's how it is. Even if he was totally injury free, I don't think he could have, especially not
Yeah,
knocked out Beterbiev, or
if
anything.
you're injured,
So
postpone the fight. Why go in there injured
yeah,
against a guy
that's the
like
thing.
Beterbiev?
Yeah. So and he's now 34, by the way, gonna be 35 this year. Suddenly, no longer a young guy. And yeah, that's the problem. I don't think he'll box much longer, even
Yeah,
if he should win this fight. I don't think he will go on for that much longer. Maybe a couple more years. So
yeah,
that's how it
good
is.
to go. Yeah, I'm with you there. Zora De
Mm.
La Vega, same thing. He picks Buatsi to win. And Zora De La Vega says exactly, Boz, just beaten by better fighters. No shame in that. Yeah, right. Yeah, no
No
shame in that.
shame. No
Certainly.
shame. You just gotta realize I am not good enough. I'm not as good as him. That's all. That's how
Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
that's what it came down to. That's why you fight, to see who comes out on
that's
top.
right.
It doesn't have to be the end of
Yeah,
the road there. And look, he's getting another opportunity. He wins this, then he's right back in that title picture again. So
yeah. There
it's an
can be
opportunity.
only one best guy in each division, more or less. Well, we have maybe two that will be shown soon who the
Oh
better
yeah,
one is.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it can be like five guys who are all the best in a division or something.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. And then
Yeah.
so yeah, moving on to the last one we'll talk about is another heavyweight fight with major heavyweight implications. We've got Big Bang taking on Yijit
I
Kabayel.
Caballero,
Yijit
yeah,
Kabayel.
yeah.
So Kabayel, the
The
Monster Slayer.
Kurdish
That's probably a
warrior.
good nickname
Yeah.
for Kabayel. We can call him the Monster Slayer. And
Mm.
this is going to be a big matchup and does have good implicate or heavy implications because we know that Jang, he was being mentioned right there in the title picture. Ironically, of course, Joseph Parker set him back. uh Caballero, he's at least on the grand stage, he's done his thing thus far as getting out there to the masses. Riyadh season seems to jive with him pretty well. So we're gonna get to see Caballero go in there and try to chop down another big body in Big Bang Jang.
The
So it's
thing
gonna be
is,
interesting for sure because Jang is probably gonna be around 270 something or 280, and that's a lot right there. But Caballero shows that he's damn good to the body, and
yeah, he's
that's what I would
he's.
advise.
I think Cabral is deceptively strong for his size. He's obviously. I mean, the way he chopped down that guy Mahmudov, and yeah, I mean that looks so easy. I mean, ridiculously easy the way he did it. And yeah, then of course he got a little lucky against Frank Sanchez because Sanchez got injured, but still you gotta give him his credit there
Yeah,
also. And yeah, he just is very capable and body puncher, knows how to do his stuff, his job. And Zhang, of course, he has the big monster punch. if he connects, that can be good night. Goodbye, Caballero. But on the other hand, we've seen him in a Parker fight where he scored a couple of knockdowns, but that's it. He doesn't follow up. He doesn't
Yeah,
do much else, and he loses. So that may well happen here also. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think this is probably a 50-50 fight, I'd say.
yeah,
Probably. So also, like Alex, this is a very hard one for me to pick. And as
yeah,
I said, if Cabell has more chance to win by by decision, and Zhang more by a knockout, so that's what I would say. Yep.
yeah. And Alex said Caballero showing his footwork and body shot selection are a huge problem for these heavyweights. You have some of these
Yeah,
big guys who doesn't move as quick. And
that's
James
it.
certainly isn't a speedy guy.
Yeah,
He moves pretty slow in there. He does some
yeah.
good. He puts himself in good places at times to throw his punches. He's got a
He's
great
got great
that little
chin.
sniping left that he uses, which could be a problem
Yeah.
setting
The
things up.
problem
But yeah,
Problem is he's got a great chin, really awesome. So it's very hard to put him, away. And I don't know about body shots. Maybe who knows? But he's a very strong guy altogether.
yeah,
Zhang is, yeah,
yeah. Yeah, this one's a tough one for me
monster.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one. I feel 50-50. I'm a fan of Jang just in general because I've just followed him. He is 41, maybe 42.
yeah,
Uh, but the way he fights, though, I mean, it's not like
yeah.
he require or leans heavily on a bunch of
The thing,
athleticism or
yeah.
anything of that nature. He's
Just
just
like against Hergovich, he did so great at first, but then he later on he faded. He got tired in the end, and yeah, that's the problem he has. Yeah,
So yeah, he has the
kind of.
skill set that even being a bit older, he can still do damage. So that makes it interesting. Vega mentions you could argue though that he's been stopping fighters that came in with obvious injuries. Yeah, yeah, certainly. It would be interesting. I actually picked Frank Sanchez when he took on Caballero, but of course, we know what happened there. Zorro mentioned Jang is great at being patient to land his punches and can definitely bang, but he is definitely older and has shown gas take issues. Bad for him to fight someone with attacks to
Yeah.
the body. Like, yeah, no, you're right there. So yeah, this was a tough one for me as well. I want to lean Jang, just of course that size and he'll have that power on his side. But yeah, if it's one of those sort of lethargic type of follow up performances, as far as how you mentioned in there with Joseph Parker, in the fact that he had Parker hurt a couple of times, but he still
Yeah,
was pretty slow and lethargic outside of getting those knockdowns at times.
he got
If it's one of those,
outboxed. Yeah.
then yeah, Caballero can certainly move on him.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah,
That's what I like. These, normal size heavyweights to put in that call in that way. 6'3" guys. Like Caballero, Parker, and yeah, they really can. Yeah, they can do what these huge guys can't, and that is really move around well and box and all that. Yeah,
yeah. Sanchez, yeah, he did have a knee sleeve, as Vega mentions there. He did have some kind of knee
yeah,
injury. Yeah, it
yeah.
was.
He
So
did.
yeah, there was an
Shouldn't have
injury.
taken. That was very unlucky. So yeah, we'll see about him.
Yeah,
What
I'm gonna lean
happens?
Big Bang Jang as well. Vega's going Big Bang
Bang.
Jang. I'm gonna lean. That's gonna be a lot of size and power, and yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
and Jang, he doesn't have to do a ton as far as movement wise. He doesn't have to be all over the place to get it done. If he can
He's
bring Caballero to him, which Caballero is going to have to come to him if he wants to start to dig into that body and all of
mm,
that, then that's going to open him up. So the timing might be right, and it just stylistically might be the right thing or the right matchup there for
I think,
Jang.
yeah, I think well now thinking about it, that I favor him to win by decision. Really. So that's my pick.
All right. Good. Like to
Yeah,
see it. Like to see that variety there. Zora de la
Yeah,
Vega, imagine putting your arm in a sling just cause. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. So, all right. So, yeah, that's it. And then, let's
that,
see. Rusty Cage says, "What's going on with Nico Ali? I'm concerned. I tell you what's going on. He needs to take that Ali off his name and just be Nico Walsh. He just needs to be
Nicole.
Nico Walsh and stop. They need
Yeah,
to stop throwing the great Muhammad Ali out there with these little comparisons and vignettes because Nico Walsh is just a boxer who's learning the game on the job." And the
yeah,
expectations have been set far too freaking high. It's
that's
crazy.
true.
But salute there to
Same
your
thing.
Rusty Cage.
By the way, another speaking about sons of famous boxers. Well,
Mhm.
Michael Gomez Jr. He looked terrible last night against
Oh
Reese
yeah,
Bellotti. Yeah,
I saw
that
that
was
fight. Yeah, he did look bad. He looked like he
yeah,
couldn't block
just
a shot to save his life.
yeah, just stalking the guy, not doing much, just taking punishment for like six
Yeah,
rounds.
yeah. The corner ended up stopping to get, which was rightfully so because he
Yeah,
was taking a ton of damage there. So yeah, I did catch that one. Bellotti was giving him that
and
work. So yeah, I didn't know that was the son of Michael Gomez.
yeah, that was him. Even though he doesn't look that much like his old man, but yeah, that was
All right,
his son.
all right, good stuff. Yeah, that was interesting there, one there for sure.
Mm.
And yeah, great. I'm glad. I like when the corners stop it themselves too. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's like your fighter, and if he's not gonna just continue, he or she not gonna continue or not gonna be able to really do much, then why prolong that beating?
yeah, it's just annoying to watch.
Yeah, round after round. Yeah, so no,
Mm.
good stuff there. But again, folks, of course, boxing shit, we're here. That about wraps us up right there. Riyadh season. We're gonna definitely
Here
be
we
tuned
come.
in. It's gonna be a good one, big drama show. So as Triple G used to say. So we thank you all for being here, sharing your comments and thoughts with us. We'll be back, of course, next week to talk about what actually happened and see where we were
Mm.
right, where we were wrong, or where we were spot on. So we'll see how that goes down. In the meantime, be sure to like, subscribe, check out everyone who's in the comments doing their thing. We appreciate you all. Check out Boz's Boxing this Wednesday. Going to be going live. Going to be talking about Joe Gans versus Terry McGovern, a sort of deep dive. We're going to talk about that, see what really happened in that matchup there. So feel free to join us if you can. And hey, enjoy the rest of your weekend, folks. Thank you.
Yep. Take it easy.